Welcome back, guys. Episode 5 of Off Program. A couple days late, but we were a couple days early last week, so I think it all balances out and averages, so we're good.
All we look at is averages.
Travis is a little bit under the weather, so hoping he doesn't breathe on me too hard here, because
Yes. That's why we pushed the podcast back a few days, because I was like in bad shape 3 days ago, and I've been like progressively getting slightly better.
So grateful for that, because I've been in bad shape this week. Like, I know last week I was talking about feeling like more dialed in with the deficit, but it was like I tipped over the edge of I just feel like shit all day long and I can't move, and I feel like I need 14 hours of sleep a day just to open my eyes. And
Yeah. Is it at the point where you've just been low calorie for so long that it's
been
finally hits you?
pretty much, I guess, like 14 months of straight caloric deficit at this point.
You see, that's a long time.
Yeah.
With cardio the whole time?
Yep. So it's
Oh.
I'm kind of getting to the point where like I can tough it out, but it's getting harder and harder to tough out, which brings the question that I wanted to ask, because I was actually going to be a pussy and ask Justin this myself. I talked about it in one of the vlogs, but I was kind of thinking like, okay, we're getting pretty lean. How much more benefit will there be to push for another couple weeks versus just reversing sooner rather than later? And he kind of answered in the check-in without me even asking, because he probably assumed that I'm thinking the thing without
Yeah.
without me having to ask, because I'm feeling it's starting to hurt. And he was basically saying that we're lean enough now that we could add calories back in and gain weight without being too much of a fat ass.
Mm-hmm.
But he also said that if I can stick it out for another couple more weeks, we should be able to put on more size, better size, because we can, lean out a couple more pounds. That's a couple more pounds of wiggle room to go back up.
Yeah. Well, see, that's kind of the question right there. It's like, do you have more fat to pull off? Like, is there more you can pull off?
I'd say, I mean, like down here we're pretty chunky. Like legs were not that chunky, but
Yeah.
like torso, back, we still got some to pull off.
Yeah.
But
Then
it's like,
realistically, you could push it a bit more. But it depends like how you're feeling
Yeah,
too,
and
right?
that's-
Like you said, if you're at this point where you're mentally fatigued and you're just like, fucked through the day, then it's okay. Maybe the benefit isn't there to continue pushing.
And kind of what I'm wondering again is like, am I just being a pussy right now? Like, is it just like knowing that I have that carrot in front of me that we could reverse it? I'm just like try to slack off, or like mentally screwing myself into thinking that I need to because I want to so bad.
I think it depends if you feel that way for a long amount of time.
Yeah,
You know,
if
like
it is just a couple bad days, then
Yeah. It's like, are you just super tired for a couple days, or is it like, prolonged? Like I always say, like if you're really tired and you need a day off, you can take one, just not today. Wait till
Yeah.
tomorrow. Then if you feel like you still need it, then take one.
yeah, and I kind of had to pull the trigger on what you talked about a little bit on my Thursday session
Mm-hmm.
with your, you feel like shit, just take the day off the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Me being a powerlifter, wanting to stick to my set 4 days a week, I ended up just having a really slack session. I did feel a little bit better Thursday, and then I pushed hard again on Saturday squats, and I'm like back to I had to sleep until 8 a.m.
Yeah.
today,
Sleep
or else I
until 8 a.m.
wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
Yeah, see, but like with low calorie dieting, you're also training very hard.
Mhm.
So that takes quite a bit more out of you, and it requires more recovery the next day. So like you're gonna feel the effects of really low cal dieting more so than someone who maybe isn't training as hard. And you're also like, you track everything, right? You're very like
Yeah.
meticulous, so you're pushing yourself hard. It's not like
And kind of what I'm thinking right now on that is like I have my 3-week wave progression. Saturday was the end of the wave. New wave starting Monday. What I think I'm going to do is just pull back on the number of big gnarly movements I'm doing per session.
Mhm.
Because like through my whole powerlifting career, like I've done very, very, very well, like having 4 big movements on my pressing days, having 3 big movements on my lower days. I think I just need to pull that back to like 3 on the pressing days, 2 on the squat deadlift days, and just
Mhm.
see what that does for me, because I know that I am probably getting a little bit overcooked. And I think if I can manage that better, I'm hoping that the feels come back and I can stick it out. But
So how many working sets are you doing with like each of the big movements?
so depending on the movement, usually 1 to 2 that I count as a work set.
Yeah.
And then kind of like the deciding factor on if it's 1 or 2 work sets is like, if I hit like what would be my first work set and I'm like, I'm fucked, doing another is not worth it, I won't do another. If I do a work set and I'm like, okay, I could add a couple pounds, do a couple less reps and still get something out of it, I'll do that. So it's kind of more of like a by feel, but 1 to 2 hard push work sets on them,
Yeah.
which isn't a ton of volume, but
No.
with the relative tonnage, it adds up.
Yeah, well, it's about the intensity, right? More than anything, I would say.
Yeah, so
So yeah, with that though, you're already doing like basically 1 set, but if you're doing 2, then instead of like pulling an exercise out, you could just drop it all to one set.
I'm not even thinking like pulling the exercise out, but I'm thinking I've been like, so on my deadlift day, for example, I've been doing my comp deadlift.
Mhm.
We're doing a hard push stiff leg. Then we're going over to the pit shark and pushing that really freaking hard.
Yeah.
And like getting, like we ran 11 plates on the pit shark last week because I had to one up Joel.
Yeah. Doing a squat.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, just a side note. I seen Joel pose yesterday.
He's gross right now, right?
He's going to smoke everyone at Saskatoon in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
All my guys are in classics. So
yeah. I'm just glad that Cole's going to get his ass kicked.
Cole?
Yeah, because my brother's going up against him.
I totally forgot that. Okay, I take that back because I haven't seen Cole pose. But Joel looks great for his first show. It was really good.
Well, he looked great as a powerlifter. And now he's like put on 25 pounds of size. It's just like, what?
And see, I was thinking, yeah, like he's powerlifted for a while, right?
Yep.
So at the posing seminar at the Realm Ground opening yesterday, I was just watching it and, watching all the guys run through the poses. They're all lined up. And it was funny. It's so clear who lifts heavy. And Joel just like stuck out like a sore thumb. Like the biggest thing, guys who lift heavy or deadlift heavy, they have massive glutes and they have massive erectors. Like as soon as you have someone who like used to power lift and they turn around and they hit back shots, they destroy everyone. And it was just like looking, you can see he's just dense and hard and grainy. And it was just so clear. It's what I knew, but it just reaffirmed it, like looking at a lineup of like 8 guys. And I know basically how they all train because I just see them around the gym. And I was like, this completely reaffirms everything.
The guy that deadlifts 900 is going to have erectors.
Oh yeah, he's going to have steel cables running up either side of his spine, and his glutes are going to be massive. He's going to have thick hamstrings. He's going to have big traps, and that's what everyone was talking about. They're like, do you train your traps? He's like, no. And I'm like, no, I know you don't. You just pulled 800 pounds off the ground.
Yeah, and I think we're trying to talk a lot of the bodybuilders at Realm into doing a little bit more powerlifting type stuff for that exact reason.
There's a middle ground, yeah, and it's like it's just training progressively, like having a logbook and just every day, just not every exercise is going to go up on your push day, but if you can make like one go up every day, then over the course of a year, everything's went up. You know what the standard is. You know what you have to beat when you go to the gym. That just keeps you in check and gives you like something tangible. You don't have to like think about it. You're like, hey, this is what I have to beat. If you do that over a long period of time, then you end up like Joel, grainy, hard, and ready to like kick some ass.
Yeah, like we got Johnny to squat with us. Johnny owns the Supplement World that's in the Realm. For those guys that don't know, we got him to squat with us yesterday. And like the selling point that I gave him was like, okay, look at who in here has the biggest legs.
Mm-hmm.
You got Joel, you got my brother, you got me, you got you. Mm-hmm. And like we're all people who have squatted very heavy.
Yes.
And it's like if we get Johnny to squat more than 2 freaking plates, like his goddamn chicken legs are finally going to grow.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is not even just like...
Sorry, Johnny. He said it.
Yeah, I said it. I mean, I told it to him in person too, but it's like, not that squatting is the best hypertrophy driver for legs. Mm-hmm. By far, you can do much more things more efficient for creating tension in the quads. But I think the thing is with squatting heavy, it unlocks the neurological efficiency to then be able to push heavier on hack squat, be able to push heavier on your leg press, be able to push heavier on the things that are going to be better for growing. Mm-hmm. And getting stronger on the squat should unlock better progression on those.
Yeah, it all crosses over, absolutely. But it's also like when you're getting heavy on squats and when you're like trying to beat a number and set a PR, every leg day or whatever, you're using your whole leg.
Yeah.
Like your quads will grow.
Unless you squat like Darrell, but that's...
Does he do the good morning type one?
So yeah, when we first moved back...
But he also deadlifts 900 pounds.
Yeah, right? Well, when we first moved back, Darrell squatted like a guy that deadlifted 900 pounds. It was entirely spine.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing is like getting him to get more quads going, like his squats going up.
Yes, a guy like that, I don't know if it'd be possible for him to break his back.
No.
Like if he got in a car crash and everything was broken, I think his erectors would keep his spine.
Well, he actually got rear-ended last winter.
Yeah.
And like, car was pretty screwed up. He was pretty screwed up. But again, I think like, if he wasn't strong, he probably would have been more screwed up.
Yeah.
And his training did take a little bit of a hit. And kind of the problem with that was he was trying to tough it out a little bit too long. But once he backed off enough to let things calm down, it got rolling again. But yeah, like I think just being stronger is going to be better.
Yeah. Well, I just think it...
Well, cause just
I know
like...
people hate this, but I think it just makes like denser muscle if you're a strong dude.
Yeah, and even from like the injury perspective, it's like if something is not strong, it's going to be more vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And if we can make it stronger, it's going to be less vulnerable. Hence the banner on the wall there.
Weak things break. Yeah.
But that's about it. It's like every ding that I've had, it's like all I can kind of attribute to is like I just wasn't in shape to do the movement that I wanted to do on that day, and it popped.
Mhm.
Solution: make the thing stronger. It stops popping.
Yeah, so for like any of those dings or injuries, I know with me, like when I look back and like think of the circumstance, I always know exactly why it happened. Are you the same way? Like
Yeah,
nothing's ever happened randomly to me.
well, like I talked to you about my pec tweak on that pullover machine.
Yeah.
100% I know why it happened is like I'd been training that pullover machine kind of like, half-assed, not very intense, like just got to be slow and squeezy. And I was feeling a little bit spry at that point of the session that day. So I slapped 2 more plates on it than I had ever before. It's like no freaking wonder my pec and shoulder get pissed off.
Yeah.
And it's not that the machine's necessarily bad. It's just that I loaded it too aggressively for what I was ready for. And the solution isn't going to be avoided at all costs. The solution is going to be to get stronger if I want to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you said the pullover did that to you too, because that's what banged up my pec as well.
And I think it's like the leverage point in the bottom. Like we're never training coastal fibers like that aggressively on anything we're doing.
No.
And it's just one of those things where because it is that aggressive, got to be a little bit cautious in loading. But again, I don't think that means it's a bad machine. It just means I got to build myself up to pushing, 4 aside on that sucker.
Yeah. And you're not doing light movements either.
No.
What do you think about, do you ever do banded dumbbell pullovers?
So I program them a lot for people. I have run them a ton in the past. So long history of shoulder bullshit that we've gotten into in other podcasts that I won't repeat myself on. But a lot of getting myself to the point where I could do an overhead press again was banded dumbbell pullovers.
Okay.
And I haven't done them a ton as of late, just because I kind of got to the point where I was so good at them and didn't really feel like it was worth progressing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you can get quite strong at them, so you have to make a pretty interesting setup in order to keep loading once you hit the heaviest dumbbells. Thankfully, we're at a gym with pretty heavy dumbbells.
Yeah, so maybe I should
Bro, can you imagine using those 350s for dumbbell pullovers?
For anything.
What I like with the dumbbell pullover, I think it like 10x is how valuable it is from a muscle building perspective if you can band it.
Oh yeah, because you're getting the full strength curve because it falls off so hard at the top.
Yeah, but I just think it's such like it loads it so well, like on the bottom quarter of the rep, and then it falls off. So that you get a proper band, kind of keep tension.
Yeah, and I think, and the biggest reason I like the banded variation as well as I like that pullover machine when I don't fuck it up, is like if you think about banded dumbbell pullover, it's like we're getting pulled away as well in the bottom. So not only are we getting shoved backwards to the floor, we're getting pulled away.
Yeah.
So it's going to force the serratus to come on to manage that scap position. I think that's why I used to get so much out of them and why I was excited about the pullover machine until I had my little accident. But
well, let's pull it back for a couple of weeks.
Maybe reintroduce the banded pullovers to start kicking that range again and build her back up that way.
I think I need to add those back in.
Yeah. Putting him in my program for the next wave.
So John Meadows original.
Yeah.
Is that where you
that's the first place I saw him too.
Man, John was he led the science behind training for a long time for the general public. Because he made it like very easy to understand.
Yeah. Did you ever get to meet him?
No, I seen him one time. I just seen him. He was like eating lunch at the Arnold, and I didn't want to talk to him because he was with his wife. And then the next year he died.
Yeah.
And I regret not going up and talking to him. But like, I don't want to go up and talk when he's with his wife eating lunch,
And I'm not going to act like I knew him, but we both met him at Elite, and just such a kind human being. And he's like kind of the same thing as Bryce, where it's like, how is this motherfucker so nice?
Yeah, that's definitely what he gives off online.
And it's cool to see, because I know there's a lot of people that, online it's not what it is in real life, but it's refreshing to have someone that is also real.
It is cool when you see that. Who's like the number one on both ends of the spectrum that was like the most like you seen online, and then the absolute opposite?
I'm gonna give what are you looking at? What are you jumping up for?
I'll give mine if you need a minute to think.
I got a good one. Okay. Well, I got a good one that isn't gonna be too mean. It's gonna be. I got one that can be very mean on.
Yeah.
I have another one that can be quite complimentary. I'll choose the complimentary one.
Okay.
So Joe Sullivan.
Yeah.
You familiar with him?
No.
Powerlifting coach. He comes off as very, I'll say, prickish online. Like he's very brash, very outspoken.
Yeah.
In person, I love the shit out of him. Online, he can grind some people's gears. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And like it's so funny because I know so many lifters that like hate him based on his online persona. But it's like every time I've interacted with him, like, yeah, Joe's sick.
Yeah. So does he just do it to get views, or that's just kind of like his persona?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like how he is online.
Yeah.
And how it's always been.
In that sense, like whether they seem like kind of like dicks online and really nice in person. Funny enough, Greg Doucette is the first that came to mind.
Oh yeah,
He's the nicest guy. Oh yeah,
really?
yeah, and he doesn't sound like he does
He
online at
doesn't have the
all.
squeak.
No, that's like 95% of persona. That's not him at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Cause part of me, like, it makes me wonder, like, do I need to be more of that to get more views? But the other parts, like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, you don't want
I don't
to,
want to
but
have to put
then
it on.
but then there's also like the the reference points or the proof points of people who just are themselves. Like Jay Cutler, for example.
Yeah.
That dude he's the most like humble, down to earth guy you'll ever meet. Like he'll remember your name because you met him at an expo like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
It's like mind blowing. It's very impressive. It's very clear that why he's in the position he is now and still so relevant 10 years after competing. It's like it's so clear. Like he deserves it.
Yeah, because he is the dude.
Yeah, he's just a good dude.
And I think too, it's like on that note too, I wonder about just like sustainability and being able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I had to put on an act to
Right.
be camera Seth,
You can only do it for so long,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so I guess if you're your authentic self, then it's a lot more sustainable. You can do it long term, right? Because it's just you.
yeah, and I kind of, I guess Miata makes fun of me because I have my camera face. It's because I got to think too hard to make the words come out right, and the brain gets all contorted.
Yeah, but it's also like you have like all these thoughts, and you need to compress them into a 30-second reel or a 20-second reel, right? So you're ready, like
Yeah,
gotta hit it hard.
and then with reels too, like the difficulty in filming a reel for me is like a little bit of speech impediment that I still have. I have to try so fucking hard to make the words come out that my
Yeah.
face just does funny things.
See, that blows my mind that you say you have or had a speech impediment. Like you can't tell at all. And I've spent a decent amount of time around you speaking.
And like how it comes out now, like there's still some stutters here and there. And I also have like I need to take long pauses between words because it's like I don't know what it is about the brain mouth connection, but it's like the brain wants to move faster than the mouth. So I have to like purposefully slow down to get it to come out right.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of one there, but I had a dude in my comments like that was for the fucking longest time that would just make fun of how I talked on all my vlogs. And it's just like, motherfucker, you think you're original saying this? Like, this is not the first time I've heard this. Like,
Yeah.
just, yeah.
No, well, that's good. If you don't have any haters, then
Yeah.
you're not out there enough.
And I think like the thing that's like the funniest part about running this podcast now is like I click on the dude's profile because every time someone talks shit, I click on their profile just so I can confirm that they're the loser that I think they are based on their comments.
I used to make. I did a few videos of these on TikToks because, like, do you do TikTok?
No, I'm too old.
Yeah,
Not too old. Too.
I also feel too old. Anyways, they're crazy on there. Like they're like gremlins that all attack you. So I went through a phase where if someone like left a bad comment, I'd like screen record like the comment,
Yep.
and then I'd like click on their profile and like go to a few of their photos.
Yeah.
And it's just like so like evident that this would be someone hating on you.
Yeah, it's like this is why they
To
think
just
that
call
way.
them out, and then I stopped. I should start doing it again. It was kind of funny.
But like, dude that's making fun of my speech patterns, like, click on his profile on YouTube. He's got hundreds of podcast episodes.
Oh, so he's like,
His most viewed podcast,
yeah,
12 views.
Yeah. See, he's just mad at you then.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you could have this autistic motherfucker whooping your ass.
Yeah. Man, it just comes with it. It's the internet.
Yeah, and I'm doing better at getting less angry at it. Now it's just like more funny.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like become this pattern of like, okay, you get a shitty comment, click on their profile. It's like, yes, boxes checked.
But if you view it as a sign of success that you're getting those like hate comments, then that probably would make it like frame it differently in a more positive way.
Yeah,
Because like anyone doing anything has haters.
and I think like what kind of made me get better with it is whoopsie daisies.
Sorry.
Keeping that in. Bet that
I
sounds
told you I'm sick, man.
bet that sounds really good on the mic.
Yeah, I barely made it here today, but I'm here.
But what kind of wrapped my head around it a little bit more when I was first kind of getting some shitty ones is like, if I were to click on the comment section of any like mainstream sport athlete that I respect,
Yeah.
like there's so many people talking shit on them, but it's like it's gonna happen. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, someone's gonna be upset.
There's probably a pretty accurate statistic on like the percentage of like the average like percentage of like hate comments to positive comments, right? And then if it's like maybe, I don't know, 3% or something, then on most people's posts there's just not enough comments to like reflect what a 3% shows, right? But then if you have 100 comments, that's when it's always gonna
Yeah, and then
have that 3% or whatever the number is.
and it's almost like no matter how many good ones there are, the bad ones do stick out more.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why that is.
I think just human psychology programmed to notice threat more than we are notice good.
Yeah, probably. Or maybe it's just more meaningful if all the other ones are, positive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I don't know.
And I wonder too how much of it is like if I'm putting out like a piece of content or like some sort of like powerlifting tip, I'm putting the tip out because I know it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then if someone's like, no, that's fucking dog shit, it's like such a sharp contrast between what I think I know and
right. Yes.
And like not that it makes me question myself, but it's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Then you have to decide internally if you want to, acknowledge this or not.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's a tough game if you start replying to like the hate comments because
it never ends well. It never ends well.
Well, it doesn't matter if you win or if you lose. They're just gonna.
You're not gonna change their mind.
No.
Like if I got a guy coming in on a leg drive reel on bench that's saying that, if you're lifting with your legs, it's cheating. You're not really training your chest. It's like, I can't change that guy's mind. Like if he's at that level where that's what he believes, like he's gonna be stuck believing that, and his bench is gonna suck for the rest of his life. And like, even I want to help him in some world.
Yeah. Because he doesn't want a different opinion of it.
Yep.
He wants you to adopt his thinking.
Yep.
That's why he commented on that. If he had a different line of thinking and he wanted for you to explain to him why you have this, this line of thinking, then he would ask the question different, or he would ask a question, or the way he would write it would be different.
Yeah.
Right. You can tell who like genuinely has a question versus someone who's
just trying to be a dink.
Yeah. Just trying to
it's
dunk on you.
The funny thing too is like when I have responded to those comments, it's like guy comes in being all sassy.
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit sassy back. They always get butthurt. They're like, you don't have to be a dick. It's like, you just called me stupid. Like you literally wrote that I am stupid for thinking this, like exact quotes. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be a dick back to you. Don't act shocked.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes you wonder, well, it depends like how many comments you're getting, but if you're getting like, hundreds or thousands, just take like the Joe Rogan approach where he always says you just can't ever read the comments.
Yep.
But then I guess you don't get feedback.
Yeah.
So then you would very much just be like a trailblazer doing your own thing if you don't read the comments, right? Because you don't even care the feedback.
But I think like there is value in responding to comments as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the ones that are honest questions, are good questions, are good feedback. Like it is worth responding to those ones.
100% there is. But then with that, you have to see,
the
negative
shit.
ones. And just the people trying to ruin your day, because there is a few of those.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just sad.
But there's a lot of positive comments, which is what makes it worthwhile, because that vastly outweighs the negative. So it's good.
Yeah.
If the negative outweigh the positive, then oof.
Yeah, then it probably should quit.
There's an issue somewhere. Unless you're monetizing the hate, then keep it going, man. Keep doing you.
And like props. Okay, so I know we always make fun of the hypertrophy optimizers.
Yeah.
Again, when they're popping up my algorithm, it's like the stupid thing that I need to stop wasting time on. But I'll always click on those comments. It's like props for those kids for keeping on going.
Yeah.
Because that's a war zone in there.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's an absolute war zone, which is kind of brought on themselves. I see there's a lot of posts that are kind of like rage bait, like they make videos knowing
that it's going to get people pissed off. That's got to be something.
Or at least commenting. Yeah. Well, I think that's a pretty easy way to make people comment. Just, make a post making it seem like you actually believe this. That's pretty clearly wrong.
Yeah. But then again, like if you're trying to help people attract clients,
again,
not a strategy I want to dig into.
It's whatever your goal is, Yeah. Like they're just monetizing views. Whereas, like if you're, coaching or whatever, trying to get people in your program, then you don't want to just piss everyone off online. You want to provide value.
Yeah. And I think like that's been the hardest mental part of dieting right now is when I kind of like, when it's gotten harder, it's like my creativity in content has just plummeted. Yeah. And like, that's kind of like the thing that's kind of making me think I do want to pull the trigger on food sooner than later, is just like, can I get some of that back? But then the other thought is it just me like not being creative that is the issue right now? And that's kind of what I'm questioning. It's like,
well, the one thing that's different is now you're not eating food.
Yeah.
So I mean, you certainly could like reason out that that's the thing that changed. And it's also like with not eating carbohydrates, it's not just like your body that uses carbohydrates for energy, it's your brain too.
Yeah.
Right.
But then it's like, can I force creativity out better in this state? And I'm actually like, I'm stoked because like Travis was a little bit late getting here, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna force myself to rip out a reel.
Yeah.
And it took what, like 30 takes to get right, but we got one out, got one done.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if you've seen the behind the scenes for a lot of creators, there would be a lot of 30, 40 takes.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like when I was like rolling before the diet got really hard, it was like one take easy, one take easy, one take easy, and then it just kind of like turned into like 20 takes, then going, this was a bad idea.
Yeah, then okay, so you've seen the progression then,
Of like,
the negative
yes,
progression.
yes, yes, it's going. I'm reverting back to like when I first started.
Yeah, well, how low's your food? Is it the same as when did you say it? 2 weeks ago? Is it the same as
So-
then? Or is it lower?
So it's lower. He hasn't touched carbs. I'm still 75 training. I guess 0 on the non-training days, so that can't get lower.
Like 75 grams of carbs?
Yeah,
Pre or post or both?
like total.
Yeah, so do you split that still?
Yeah, so it is like pre, intra, post. So 25 a piece.
Tell me you're not drinking carbs.
Still had doing carbs in the intra.
You're drinking them?
Yeah,
Oh, bro, you can diet more then.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's surprising. Usually when guys like get low calories, they stop drinking their calories.
Well, he wants to keep it in the training session.
And I totally
understand.
Yeah, see, that's where there's probably a little bit of a difference between being in such a performance-based sport versus a
Mhm.
visual one.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, as soon as guys get like low carb on their diet, they're like, I'm hungry. I want to eat.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, okay, we'll just put it.
Well, I
in
mean,
rice
I am hungry and I
pre-workout.
want to eat, but I also
Yeah,
I'm not at the point where I want to vocalize that either.
yeah. Then you'll start believing it. You start saying it. You can't start identifying as someone who's hungry.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not hungry. You might be hungry. I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is like, well, the amount of stims I have, the amount of nicotine I have all day long,
Yeah.
like the actual like stomach hunger, it's never that bad. It's just the energy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Like your stomach's not yelling all the time.
I mean, I just pop a couple more pouches in.
Yeah. You a couple diet Dr.
Yeah,
diet root
yeah,
beers.
diet root beers, case a day.
Yeah. I mean, those are the diet hacks. Those are the diet hacks that like they won't teach you in school. And you know, the health experts will say,
Well, again,
that's not good.
I want no one
information.
to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, but the reality is I do it, and I know a lot of high level people in our sports, and they basically all do it.
Yeah, and I think like the
Like
difference.
you have some anomalies, right? But like,
But I think the differentiation is like if I got a 40-year-old, kind of again like the 40-year-old power lifter that wants to be a better lifter, I'm gonna make sure their training is as dialed in as it can be. I'm gonna
mhm,
make sure the movement prep's as dialed in as it can be, because they're gonna have nothing but benefit from that.
yeah,
I do not want them doing anything irresponsible, supplement wise,
yeah,
etc.
yeah,
Just because I don't think it's gonna be worth it for that guy.
mhm. Yeah. Well, okay, you kind of touched on two different things. The supplement thing, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But like on the side of like,
But
these,
again, it's like-
diet hack things, like having an extra 300 mgs of caffeine in the day isn't as bad as doubling your tren.
Yes.
You know, like those are different.
Yeah,
discussions.
different things.
Yeah.
But again, it's like one of those things where to do what I'm doing, I'd say absolutely justifiable. But not many people are trying to do what I'm doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
like
I don't
go
mean to
that
say
deep in
that
a
from like
diet.
a high horse thing, but it's like if you're not going that deep on a diet, you don't need to.
Yeah, I'd agree with that completely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like in a perfect world, yeah, you don't have caffeine, you don't have nicotine, you don't have, what was the other one? Diet pop,
Yeah.
artificial sweeteners. Oh my God. That's so crazy. Yeah, you don't have those things, but you know, if it's between, you know, breaking your diet or having, you know, a 0-cal energy drink, I personally
Would rather
have
go
the
that
0-cal
route.
energy drink, and I would have no issue if one of my clients said that that's the decision they also
Mhm.
made. So it's the reality of it. If you don't need it, don't do it. You're better off, but marginally.
Yeah, and I think clarify too, it's like what I'm doing right now as a powerlifter, with the diet being pushed this hard, I think for 90 out of 100 powerlifters, it's not going to be worth doing this.
Mm-hmm.
If the
Yeah.
goal is to powerlift well, have a good total, because like doing this, it's going to be like a 3-year process to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's going to take time to.
But you've also been in this a long time, right? Like you've picked all the low hanging fruit. That's what you're doing.
And that's exactly it, because it's like I've ran out of levers to pull to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be kind of like the last really big lever that's more of a series of levers, but
Yeah, a lot, a large series of levers. Yeah, like your legs are veiny. You know,
yeah,
like that. You're pretty lean.
getting there, getting there.
Getting there. We'll see what Justin says.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just wish he would have been like, okay, you're still too fat. Like, don't hang the carrot in front of me.
Right. Yeah, because he kind of left it up to you, like a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing with like, because yeah, I can very much relate this to contest prep because that's essentially
Mhm.
what you're doing at this point, being on that low of a calorie diet. They like my clients, they like to be, myself as well, just like told what to do.
Yep.
Like I don't need options at this point because like if it was up to me, I'd eat some food right now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so just tell me what I need to do.
And I was kind of thinking too, like, if I had a show coming up,
Mm-hmm.
I think mentally it would be easier to just be like, okay, I'm not stage lean.
Yeah.
Compared to right now where it's like, I don't have to be stage lean.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
It would certainly makes it harder to do,
Yeah.
right? Because it's not. But that's kind of like.
But again, like the fact that it makes it harder to do doesn't mean that I need to give myself an excuse because it's harder. I just need to.
Well, I agree with that completely, and yeah, that's the right approach if you take out the emotion. But humans have emotion.
Yep.
Maybe not you, but
Oh, here and there.
yeah.
But on the other side too, it's like I'm 22 weeks out today,
Are you?
and
Which meet is that?
December, King of the Platform 5, Jordan Wong's meets, best meets on earth. If you're a powerlifter, sign up for Jordan Wong meet because they are so good.
Where is it?
Florida.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Port Charlotte, I think.
So how far out before the meet do you go? Does the travel affect it?
So we'll probably go down there. I'm gonna, again, I don't know what weight class I'll be in at this point, depending on where body weight goes, but anticipating I'll have to cut.
Yeah.
So I want to land probably 4 days before weigh-in, just so I can not have the travel impede the weight cut.
Yeah. So what like weight class are you planning on competing in?
So when I started this process, like when I was still like 325,
Yeah.
I was thinking like, I'm so fat I can make 220. And
100 pounds.
I was on track for that until I hired Justin.
Yeah.
Which is not a knock to Justin because it's working so much better than it was on my own, just crushing my own soul. Because like his carb timing, making me actually take creatine again, all that sort of stuff. Like,
does he tell you to do 40 grams?
He was saying 20. I just took
Yeah.
it a little bit further.
Yeah, that's what you do when you get a plan from a coach. You generally 2x everything because they can't put it on paper.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Don't do that.
Though.
Don't do that. But his recommendation was 20, so I was like, okay, let's do 20. And then again, I was kind of seeing more of like the trendy thing right now is megadose and creatine.
Yeah, creatine in general is kind of trending, but yeah, the megadosing thing for like brain health,
Yeah,
especially in older people.
and like noticing the 20, I was like, okay, seeing everyone doing the megadosing, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna try 40, and 40 got better. And like when I started with Justin,
it's good enough for me.
I was, I think, 247 the first week. We got down to 227, and then PEDs came back in. And like the 227, I was way better looking than I was when I started because I was so flat before him, and then it kind of got leaner and fuller as I went down. PEDs came back in, and that was like instant plus 10 pounds.
Yeah.
And what's been wild is it's been 4 weeks now? Every week has been like plus 2 pounds body weight, visibly leaner since starting.
So that's a perfect scenario.
So now I'm sitting at 247.
Yeah.
And with food as low as it is, I know that when I bring food back in, it's like, well, 220 is no longer ever going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to be bigger for sure.
Yep. And then
what's the biggest weight cap?
Well, 308 plus.
Oh.
So you could be 400 pounds.
Yeah.
I don't want to be 400 pounds, but you can be. But the next weight class up is 242. And if I'm 247 now, add food back in. If I get above 260, I can't pull off that cut.
Yeah, no, certainly. So what's after 242?
275.
You're 275.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking right now will be the reality.
Yeah.
Which kind of does suck because
based on how low your food is and still being over 242, like you're not gonna take food lower.
No.
No. If you don't take food lower and you don't jack up your cardio, then your weight will not go down.
Yep.
And you don't take out supplements.
And yeah, I think again, like the plan's going to be just let Justin run the macros so don't get too fat in the meat. Be what I end up being, and like if it works wonderfully and end up being 290, I have to cut 275, perfect.
Yeah. If
I ended up being 270, you can just weigh in, also perfect.
Are you looking forward to being that big again?
I'm looking forward to being strong again.
Yeah. What about the big?
Neutral.
Yeah, you just don't really care.
Yeah. And I think it's like if I can, again, it's like the big thing is choosing Justin is he's so good at managing rebounds and getting good size to come back on that I want to be as jacked as possible on the platform because as jacked as possible should lead to as strong as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the problem before at 308 is I was just too much of a fat fuck and just had not enough tissue on for how fat I was. So
Yeah. Well, if you stay lean and keep doing what you're doing, then it's a pretty like perfect scenario from either powerlifting or bodybuilding standpoint.
and I think after this meet too, what we need to do is the same thing all over again. Like,
Yeah.
because again, I'm not as lean as I could be right now, even though I kind of am at the bottom for where I want to be as a powerlifter.
Yeah.
If we don't get fat into this meet, pull back again, get leaner, should be able to build back better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'd agree with that.
So we'll see where it goes.
It's kind of just the cycle now.
And again, it's kind of like repeat that process till all-time world record.
Yes. Yeah. Well, if it works the first time, try it a second time.
Yeah.
It works again.
Yep.
Just
But
keep doing it, man.
I am sad about like kind of realizing that 242 is slipping.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I really wanted Canadian 242 total record. But whatever. 275 record will be cooler.
When you're okay, I've thought about this. When you're like in the powerlifting world, I understand that guys like care about the weight classes,
Yeah.
like winning, doing this bench at this weight class or this weight cap. But like to the general public, and
Doesn't matter. Big total, cooler.
all that matters is the number.
Yeah.
Like what you lifted.
Yep. But like in my head, it's like I want to beat motherfuckers.
Yeah, I understand that, but what do they say? There's no weight class in the jungle, man.
Yeah, but
So a powerlifter used to work for me. Do you know Logan Heffron? He's a natural guy. He has a bunch of records. He's crazy strong.
no, not familiar with him.
No? Oh, he's like 170 pounds naturally. He squats like 600 pounds. He's quite good.
I mean, 170 pounds is probably why I don't know him.
Yeah. Yeah, very
not
fair.
to be a dick if he's listening, but
He said he knew you. Sorry, Logan.
yeah. Maybe I met him.
Yeah, probably.
I am not Jay Cutler. I don't remember people's names.
Yeah, I don't either. I wish.
I actually surprised myself yesterday because a kid that I met at the Realm like months ago came up and asked me a question. He's like,
Yeah.
"Do you remember who I am?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're Kevin, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Hell yes, I got this right."
Man, I get that all the time working at my stores, like the supplement stores.
Well, because you see so many people.
Yeah. Some kid, he actually came in, this was just like yesterday. And he's like, "Hey, do you remember me? You spotted me at Good Life." I was like, "No."
No.
No. Was it a good lift? He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yes. Let's go."
Yeah. But yeah, it's tough to like. I think the problem as well is like since we've lived so many places now,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people that look similar to people that live in a different place.
So you think there's someone else?
Yeah, and like Miata gets that all the time. Like she has it worse than me, where she gets people confused. There's a girl at the Realm that looks so similar to one of the girls we used to train with in Florida.
Yeah.
And like she probably thinks I'm a creep because I just like keep looking at her because I'm expecting it to be Alyssa and it's not Alyssa. And I'm just like, I'm just confused.
Yeah. Do you know who it is yet?
No. I would be like, you look exactly like this person I used to trade with. And
I think her
I'm a
name is
weirdo.
Alyssa. I think she's Alyssa.
Yeah, probably.
I think
just start talking to her.
Yeah, she's Alyssa now.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's all we refer to her as.
Do you have anything to get us back on program?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the biggest issues with the 8-week challenges, because I just did one for the first time actually, like, I don't know, 12 weeks or so ago. It was really cool to see actually, because I'd never done it before. So there's like 17 people signed up. And so what I realized is the average weight that someone will lose if they're locked in for 8 weeks is about 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably like the average weight. And then you have, a percentage of people that drop off the start. And then you have a percentage of people at the end. They're like locked in and they love it and they want to keep going. But the issue I found with the 8-week challenge is the first thing I do whenever anyone signs up for coaching is because just about everyone's under eating. Like they're not eating enough food, because it's surprising when you eat clean food how many calories your body can handle. And then it just takes time, eating that higher food amount before your metabolism catches up to that, right? Because it adapts to it. It processes all the food. So it's the number one thing I hear when I first start working with someone. There's like, this is a lot of food. And I'm like, yeah, we just got to run it for like, at least 3 weeks here. Weight stabilizes. The weight usually goes up like 2 pounds or so. Then the weight stabilizes and they're eating like a ton of food. And then their metabolism, it's sped up essentially. And then I start pulling them down, dieting them down. So the 8-week challenge, when people sign up for the 8-week challenge, they want to get in shape now, right? That's why they're doing a challenge. So you just kind of have to take wherever they are right now and start dieting them down, which the issue is a lot of people's metabolisms are shot because they're like, yo, I ate 2 meals right now.
So it's like, what do you pull?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's probably the biggest issue with the 8 week challenge is like a perfect challenge would be 12 weeks. Just so then you have like 4 weeks at the start to get their body adapted to the plan. Because, there's like that onboarding period for the training as well before your body gets adapted to it and you actually understand the movement, how everything works. And then you can start making adjustments, right? Because, off the start, if you just give someone a new plan and then you start changing things right away, it's like there's no baseline.
You don't know what you're changing because you don't
No,
have
you don't know what you're changing, so you just guess what you should be changing based off the textbook, which is what, more cardio or less calories or something like that. But and then sometimes that's right, but lots of times that's not right. That's why, fitness coaching is still a profession and it's not just all, Google, what do I do?
So what do you think the solution would be the next time you run one of those? Would it just be stretched out to a 12-week deal, or would it be?
Yeah, I think that probably. Except the issue with that is then it's less appealing, right? So you have less
Because it's
sign-ups.
not fast. It's not like we're getting this done.
And I don't know what the percentage change would be for people what percentage less of people who would sign up if it's 12 weeks versus 8 weeks. But yeah, I'll probably do a 12-week challenge next. And it wasn't all weight loss. Like there were some people they wanted to weight gain, which I love. I love getting people big. It's so much fun, man, because there's like so many like tricks and hacks and all that. No one uses fats properly.
This might be a stupid idea. Tell me if I'm stupid.
Okay.
8-week metabolic reset challenge.
Yes. And like so like instead of the 4-week onboarding, you do an 8-week onboarding?
No, like instead of like marketing as like an 8-week weight loss challenge, like market it as 8 weeks to be leaner while eating more food than you are now.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially.
Because that can kind of solve both problems a little bit.
Yeah, and then again, that kind of comes back to like how appealing that is. Does it pop? Does it get someone excited? Does it make them go like 8 weeks to get in shape? Yes, sign me up.
Hey, sitting here right now, if I could eat more food and be leaner than I am now, I'd be signing up in an instant.
And there's probably a lot of people in your position, right? People who aren't eating a lot of food and they don't know why they're not getting leaner. Well, like that's not exactly your position, but like, they're also eating not a lot of food and they can't figure out how to get leaner. Why you are getting leaner, but.
Yeah, and I think like going back to powerlifting, there's so many lifters that have just like run peaking program after peaking program after peaking program after peaking program. And when I get them on a plan that's actually going to build base so they can peak to a higher level, like they're not excited the first 8-10 weeks because like everything feels harder, everything feels shitty. And I think like powerlifting, the solution is just to get them to realize that like, hey, we're laying the groundwork to build, but then selling that as a peaking program is not possible.
Yeah, because you need time to get people adapted and just understand their bodies. Yeah, like I'd like to run like 3-month challenges with every 3-4-month challenges. Like, because what I usually use for a contest prep is 4 months, which is, what's that, 16 weeks? And then not very often do they need the full, well, some people do, but not very often do they need the full 16 weeks. Like I could have you in shape in 12 weeks if your body's where I need it in terms of like the metabolism and the training. But I always budget the 16 weeks so we can spend 4 weeks, getting them to that point where they're in a good spot to diet down.
Yeah, and then you also have, if it is like 16 weeks and you're in shape at 4 weeks out,
that's
you can just be fuller on show day.
Yeah, it's great. Well, then you can play around with high carb days, and once someone's in shape like you're experiencing now, once you get someone in shape, you can add food back in, pull back work, pull back cardio, and then generally they just get leaner because they don't put on any more body fat from the lower calorie expenditure or increased caloric intake, but they just get fuller, right? So that's the issue when guys get like super lean. If they're super flat, you never look that lean because the muscle's flat, right? You need to fill it up with glycogen because then the muscle presses out against the skin and then there's no fat between the muscle and the skin. You look crazy. Right? So then you can just play around with high carb days, feed them more. That's a much better situation. Like being in shape 4 weeks out from a show is like best case scenario. 3-4 weeks. Then you also have time because you can carb them up. You're like, okay, this is what we're going to do for show day. We're going to carb you up like this. Oh, now we see, okay, there's still a bit of fat there. Good. We'll diet for another week. Practice again. And yeah, and that's also how you can practice the peak, especially if it's their first time peaking someone for a show, because everyone's like a bit different in terms of like how many carbs they need. If they need more fats, water. Some people look best in dry without manipulating water at all, like drinking like 5 liters on show day.
Mhm.
Then some people, they just hold water and you got to dry them out like crazy. Like everyone's different.
Yeah. And I think like the big thing too is like my little experience in the bodybuilding world with going to shows with Cole
Yeah.
is Justin always has Cole like right peeled at 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
And then they're running fairly high carbs into the show, kind of the same thing where he just gets more full and looks leaner because he's getting more full into the show.
Yeah.
And then it's like show day, there's all these people in the back room that just clearly should have been dieting another 8 weeks to be there. And they all want to be like, what's your diuretic protocol? What was your water load? What was your water cut? What was this? What was that? And they're like telling them they're taking like 3 Lasixes a day. And it's just like,
Yeah.
if someone is honestly holding water, sure. But it's like, just get leaner.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, those get like misconstrued quite often, whether you're holding water or you just still have body fat to come off yet. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy. Some people like do a diuretic protocol for a week. Like,
Yeah,
bro,
it's like,
that's
what's,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah, like the best diuretic protocols I've seen is like half a Diazide the night before, which is like is incredibly small.
Yeah, like Justin will just have Cole take 2 shots of vodka the night before. That's
Yeah,
all
there
he's
you
ever
go.
needed.
You see, if you're really in shape, you don't even need a diuretic.
Yep. I don't know. People be silly.
Yeah, well, they just aren't being real with themselves in terms of where their body's at.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're not in shape, then you're like, it's easy to say, oh, I'm holding water.
Yep.
Got to dry
Convince
out.
yourself that it's some sort of bullshit.
Yeah, then you pull out all the water, so then your muscles look flat too, and then you're flat
Just
on.
fat and sad on stage.
You're flat, fat, and small.
Yeah, not a good
Which
look.
is terrible. No, the only good fat is if you're big too.
Yeah, because
right?
then
And
you can kind of.
You can only be small if you're peeled.
Yep. Yep.
What's the range then?
The range? Like
Yeah.
there's like fat, there's fat,
Yeah.
there's in shape, there's lean, there's lean.
Okay, which one do you want to be?
On stage?
Yeah.
Lean. Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's my scale.
And I'm on the flat fat right now.
Well, yeah. I mean that would make sense based on what you're eating and what you're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's fine because that one's easy to fix. You just got to eat for a few days.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, I think the reason I'm more excited to do this again is like if I can, because again, my start point for this sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like my start point was atrocious.
Bro, you're so big.
Yeah, I was just don't sugarcoat. Don't say big.
No, you're big.
Well, yeah, rotund,
Big.
morbidly obese.
2x big.
But I think it's like if we do this time around, do this time around, like the next time I should be able to get to a better spot at this point, and hopefully feel less dead.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the next time, better spot, hopefully feel less dead.
But you're also gonna, at the end of like this, push-up cycle that you do, you're gonna be in a much better body composition than the start of
and that's
this one.
That's like why I'm excited.
Yeah, because it'll be
miserable.
Easier. It'll be easier because you have a lot less fat to pull, and 2, it'll be easier because you know what to expect. And each diet the reality is, every diet you do gets easier. The first time you really get in shape, 100%, it will be the hardest time.
Yep.
And there's a few reasons for that. One, like you don't know what to expect, but 2, it's like you have all this like fat you've had since you were a baby. Like you've literally had this fat for 30 years. So to burn that off, you have to like dig deep.
Yep.
Yeah, like every single prep I've done, it's gotten easier and easier to get in shape. And then, at the end, when you have, enough muscle, you've burnt off like all that fat enough times, then you have striated glutes just year round, and it's just like your abs you got to bring in.
Yeah. So we'll get there.
It will get easier.
We'll get there, hopefully. But
yeah.
Again, like, this is like why I wanted to pull the trigger, because I started the vlog when I started this process. And the reason I wanted to do it is like if I can document like because Dave Haight has his like shit, suck, good, great scale for powerlifters.
Okay.
Like to be a shit powerlifter, all you got to do is just go to the gym, do a meet.
Yeah.
Not gonna be good. To go from shit to good, all you got to do is show up and try.
Okay.
You can be a good powerlifter, like total 1,500 pounds as an adult-sized male, with just showing up and trying.
Yeah.
To get to a good powerlifter, you need to show up. You need to try on the right things for the right amount for long enough to transition to good. To transition to great, you have to search for that next level to figure out the thing that you have been avoiding in order to bridge that gap. And like I'm kind of in this unique process where I'm trying to go from good powerlifter to great powerlifter. And I think if I can kind of show the levers that I'm pulling, it'll be like a very cool way to not make it more accessible, make people realize like what can be done and what can be looked at.
Yeah.
Because like I'm having to look deep at a lot of things in order to get myself to that next level.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, like we said at the start of the podcast, you picked all the low hanging fruit, which is what
Yep.
you need to do first.
Yeah.
Because that's easy stuff, easy way to improve. And then after you've done all the easy ways to improve, okay.
And what's even funny with saying that too is it's not even that I'm like training wise, I'm not even doing anything that extreme, adventurous, whatever. I'm not doing anything crazy for my training.
Mm-hmm.
I think to get to the next level in training is I really just need to get better at the basics. And what I mean by that is I just need to get better at being more precise with my accessories. I need to get better at having the best position I can. I need to get better at just holding back and having restraint and not cooking myself too hard in my main lifts so I can progress for longer time periods.
It's funny after
And-
all these years powerlifting, you've circled back to that,
Mhm.
which is really like I think what most people do eventually, because you realize the basics are the basics because like that's what works.
Yeah.
And then just getting better at that. But it's like quite boring to get better at the basics over 15 years. But if you can do it,
But then it's like it's boring to execute, but then how I get the excitement back is like knowing like, okay, if I just make sure that my hack squat is precise as I can make it,
mm-hmm.
that becomes exciting because I know it's going to make my squat better.
Yeah. And if you can look at it that way, then
Yeah.
yeah, you're in a good spot.
And I think that's kind of like the mental shift that I'm trying to show right now is that it's not like I'm looking for magical exercise. I'm not looking for magical bullshit. I'm looking for better execution, better standards.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, as a intermediate lifter, like you can get adventurous with exercise selection. You can get adventurous with doing weird shit and see gains when stuff is still coming easy. But to get to that next level, it is just more better. Not more, just more better.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm sure you went through the phase where you tried all the different exercises, right? Like to see if there was something that was the secret.
And in a way, yes, because it's like if someone does have a specific deficiency on a lift, it's like, yes, a special exercise can close that deficiency very fast.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to a point where it's like, I don't really have any major holes left. Like there isn't really any, like, this is just a blatant weak point that sucks. Like I know what my limiter is, so I prioritize driving up my limiter. But it's not like a magical exercise is going to fix that. I just need to better execute on the exercises I know that drive it up.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying there's no secret?
No, nothing.
That's crazy.
Try harder for longer.
I can't believe that. No, and that's you see that a ton with coaching too. Is there like a lot of like coach hopping in powerlifting? Does that happen or not so much? Yeah.
And it's always the lifters that suck.
Yeah, generally. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's because the only reason you coach hop, unless there's like some like issue that went down, it's because
Mhm.
you want the secret.
Mm-hmm.
You want to try and find the secret.
And you want to
What-
try something new and try something whatever. And it's like, I think there are a lot of coaches that don't quite get it in powerlifting. And I think like moving away from one of those coaches to someone that does get it will almost always be beneficial.
Mhm.
But like say someone is, I'll say like getting coached by Keelan, my
Mhm.
guy that I've coached for 5 years now. It's like, if his Keelan's client wants to get coached by me, he's not going to do any better because Keelan knows all the same shit that I do at this point.
Yeah.
If someone's getting coached by Darrell, they want to hop over to me. It's like Darrell and I do things differently, but we're still prioritizing the same things, looking for the same outcomes.
That's generally how it goes though, right? Like, you can generally like track like coaches back to like one OG coach,
Mhm.
and like their their methods, they get tweaked as it kind of goes downstream, but it's like you adopt it from the coach you have because you probably like the coach you had and you've seen success with it. And if you've seen success with it, then you can apply those like principles to,
Mhm.
anyone.
And
That's
I'll even go like say like Bryce versus me coaching wise.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce and I train extremely differently. Bryce prioritizes barbell lifts. He prioritizes high frequency in the barbell lifts. I'm more accessory lift driven.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I think that my way works better than Bryce or Bryce's way works better than mine. It's that he knows how to manipulate his way to get the outcome. I know how to manipulate my way to get the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It would be silly of me to try to train like Bryce because I've trained the way that I have for 15 years and have it dialed in, know how to make it work. It'd be silly of Bryce to train the way that I train because he's done it for 15 years and knows how to make it work.
Yeah, but you obviously think you must like your way slightly more than Bryce's way, right? Or else you'd probably be doing Bryce's way.
In a way, yes.
Like
But-
they both work, but you must prefer yours, or else he probably wouldn't do yours.
I'd say yes, but it also kind of comes back to I don't want to take 15 years to learn how to dial it in to the same extent Bryce has.
So you're just too far in. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
But I think like lifters want to go from like, they want to like flop from Bryce's style to my style. They want to flop from my style to Bryce's style, thinking that it'll magically change everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in the short term, like, yes, you might get a boost by getting a different stimulus. but then you're just going to hit a wall again, and you just got to trudge through it and then prioritize better execution to get further than you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. You see that a lot. You see it in bodybuilding coaching as well, which is what, like, you know who Chris Aceto is?
Yep.
Yeah, you do, right? So I worked with him, and that was the most basic plan I've ever seen in my life, ever. By far the least amount of drugs. Literally, like 13% of the cycle for my coach before that. Like, so not. That's not.
I'm
like,
imagining the coach before that cycle.
I'll show you it after this, but
You don't want to put that on the screen.
but no, literally like probably 2/10 of
Yep.
what it was before. And it was the best I've ever looked in my life.
Yeah.
And it was just like the most basic plan you've ever seen. And I'm like, first I seen it, I was like, just paid $1,000 for this?
Yeah, but you're like, what?
Yeah, but then, you send him check-ins like basically every day and he makes a change, like some like seemingly random change. And then you're like, oh shit, I look better today. And you send him photos, he says some like random ass answer again. You're like, oh, I look better again.
Yeah.
Okay, this is why. This is why you're good. It's not because of your plan. It's because you can look at my photo and you can know exactly what needs to change to improve this.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, like what separates the coaches that just program versus the coaches that coach in powerlifting is there's a big difference between saying do this percentage versus saying we're going to do this percentage this way for this reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like with Chris's plan, it's not even a great plan. It's a good plan, but like what you're paying for is him to look at you and make the changes.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, what's that saying about a plumber? Where it's like you don't like pay a plumber for like the hours he comes and works. You just pay him because he knows what pipe to hit, even though it takes him like 5 seconds to do it. It's the exact same thing. It's if you compare Chris's plan to some like $150 a month coach's plan, the $150 a month coach's plan would look way better than Chris's.
Yeah, it looks fancier.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
more shit going on. There's more weird stuff.
Yeah, but then when you send check-ins, the $150 a month coach is, gonna say, okay. He's gonna ask Google. He's gonna say, okay, this guy, okay, we need to up his cardio a bit. But Chris will look, and he'll be like, okay. He just knows what to say. What to do, and that's what you pay for.
Yeah.
You don't pay for a fancy plan with him, and that's generally how it goes, from my experience in the fitness industry.
And again, like Justin's plan is just basic carb cycling, and it's not that the carb cycling is magic. It's just that Justin knows when to pull carbs on the medium days. He knows when to pull fat for the low days. He knows when to do what. And
have you had any real problems?
0.
Yeah. So if you did, I would also be very comfortable in Justin knowing exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Like with Chris, I knew if something weird ever happened, I'd have complete confidence in him, fixing it. And that's the difference, is the confidence. Like I've said this to people before, like the reason these good coaches charge more, or like, because the plan isn't necessarily better, but you can have complete confidence in their decision making.
And
that's what
no matter what happens. Because like powerlifting, shit's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have a sore elbow during a meet prep. And having a coach that knows what to do about a sore elbow during a meet prep is a lot better than the guy that just tells you, okay, we're just going to bench through it and make it worse, or the guy that tells you we're not going to bench at all and let it heal. Like both of those are terrible options.
Yeah.
Like what we need to do is like, okay, why is the elbow hurting? Do we lack range of motion to get under the squat bar? Do we lack interrotation to lower the bench bar? Are we pushing tricep work too hard? Are we not pushing tricep work enough? Are we ignoring our biceps? And it's like being able just to know what the plan is and then just be like, okay, snap, this is what we need to do better.
And they know that because they've just been doing it so long.
Yeah.
They've seen it. Like, I hate to break it to you, but you're not special. They've, like what, Chris has worked with every type of body ever. Mr. Olympia is like, you're not, he's, whatever you think is this like massive thing that's happening to you, he's seen it 50 times.
Yeah. And going back to the not special thing, when I went back to school, I was kind of under the mindset based on the chiros that I'd seen that like every injury is this like magical phenomenon that we need to do this like ultra specific weird shit to get past. But like powerlifters, we all have the same relative anatomy. Like, yes, stuff is going to be different sized. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But like limb lengths are going to be different. Insertion points are going to be different. Muscle sizes are going to be different. Mechanics are going to be slightly different. But we're all doing the same movements. We all kind of tend to have the same kind of problem areas pop up. It's not like we need some magical specific thing to fix your thing. It's like we just need to do the thing that addresses the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Every person on earth has the relative same anatomy. Yeah.
And like where I kind of got...
Other than like the Chernobyl people, but...
Yeah.
Other than that.
Or Darrell. But... Yeah, the deadlift levers aren't the only thing long about him. But anyways,
I hope he
but
gets
like,
this far in the podcast.
yeah, he probably will. But like, I had really bad SI stuff for years and years and years and years, and
Mhm.
like nothing was solving it. I was going to see so many people that had me doing all these like weird like balloon blowing drills and like PRI bullshit and like
What are
trying
the
to.
balloon blowing drills?
Oh, you've never been on the PRI rabbit hole?
What does that even mean?
Postural Restoration Institute is PRI.
Brother, I don't
Gonna
even know
annoy
what
some
that
people here,
means.
but it's like their whole premise is trying to rid the body of asymmetry, and they get to you like get in these weird positions and like do diaphragmatic breathing, like blowing into a balloon to inflate the balloon to try to engage diaphragm better, whatever. And I was like just like chasing all these things, like thinking like, oh, I'm just not doing the right movement to solve my pain, which in a way I was, because I just wasn't loading my hip and low back in a way that would let it be more resilient.
Mhm.
So I was chasing my tail, trying to look for all this little bullshit. When in reality, it was like I just needed to make my single leg RDL really freaking strong, so I could hip extend and a deadlift without my back exploding.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that's as simple as it is. And it's like if we could just make the shit strong where it needs to be, so when we load ourselves in those positions, it doesn't fuck off. We're gonna be a better powerlifter.
Yeah, keeps you healthy too.
Yep.
You don't fuck your shit up.
Yeah. To some extent, as long as I don't be stupid and load at the pullover machine too heavy.
I don't think that one's your fault.
Yeah, but if I say that it's the machine, I'm gonna be screwed.
Yeah, well then you just can't use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I just got to make my pec stronger that position.
You see, mine, I was dehydrated,
Yeah.
and I think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's such a piss off.
Yeah.
So I knew I didn't drink water all day.
Yeah, and kind of like the hindsight thing is like, okay, if you know you didn't drink water all day, we probably could have just managed loading better.
Yeah, and I tried a PR with straight leg deadlifts.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know,
you don't need to on that
shit,
day.
I ripped my hamstring.
Yeah.
You hadn't drank water that day, and you straight leg 7 plates for 9.
Yeah. Not a surprise.
No. So looking back, but I mean, until it happens, you think you're invincible.
And what's annoying is there's so many lifters that want to act surprised by shit happening. And what I always end up coming back to is like, okay, what was going on around this training session? And it's like, oh, I was out working in the heat all day and then my training session went bad. It's like, well, no fucking shit. You shouldn't have expected it to go perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Or they didn't eat before training. They shouldn't have expected it to go perfect. And then we get a lifter to, again, not make excuses, but understand reasons why performance might not be where it needs to be, or understand why they might be more vulnerable to an injury.
Yeah.
If we can get them to understand those reasons, not use it as an excuse, we can make the training better.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then they're taking accountability, right? It's an excuse. Then you're kind of like saying, well, it's out of my control.
Yep.
It is in your control. Drink some
And-
electrolytes.
Yeah, and I do get it too, because like I've done the same thing where like I had a day where I was working outside all day and I felt like shit in the training session, and then my training session goes bad and I want to be pissed off about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then all I need to do is think like, okay, why did the training session go bad? It wasn't because of anything that I did. It was just because my expectations did not match reality.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where the disappointment lies, right?
Yeah, and then even meet preps as well. Like so many lifters will have a meet where they're so disappointed by the outcomes, but it's just like, look at how your training looked. Look at how hard you tried in the training. Look at the numbers you had through the peak. It's like, if that wasn't on point, we shouldn't expect to have a 9 for 9 perfect day.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, you win the competition every day in the prep, right? Like that's when you win. It's during the prep. It's not a meet day. A meet day, just
and
showing
bodybuilding
everyone what you can do.
More extreme than powerlifting.
Yeah, well, bodybuilding, it's a bit more like cut and dry, because maybe in powerlifting, like if things have been off, maybe you have a really good day for whatever reason.
You can pull something out of your ass.
Yeah.
You just can't pull 15% out of your ass in powerlifting.
Yeah, exactly. But in bodybuilding, it's like if you're not in shape, like there's no Hail Mary that you can improve things some by doing some aggressive things right before the show, but if you're not in shape, man,
you're not going to be able to pull it off.
No, there's not really any way. And not if it's fat.
And I think like powerlifting mindset for meet day, I know there's a lot of lifters that want to talk about being nervous on the meet day.
Mm-hmm.
And for myself, the solution to being nervous on meet day is make myself nervous every single training session up to the meet.
Yeah.
Because if I'm thinking about like, I don't want to suck on the platform at 22 weeks out, if I'm thinking about how I don't want to suck on the platform, how I don't want a bad meet day, it just makes me be more dialed in every training session.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like lifters will, be lackadaisical until they go, oh shit, when they're 3 weeks out. And it's like, if you're 3 weeks out, you're not going to be able to get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
If things weren't pushed to the point where you need to be, you're not going to make it happen. But if we can make sure that we kind of have that fear far enough out that we're dialed in, we will be in a position where those nerves are going to shift into like, hey, I just get to show off today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's probably a great feeling to have, right? When all the work's done. It's like when you go to a bodybuilding show and you know you're peeled. It's like, this is going to be a fun day.
I kind of like what,
And you're not going to be nervous if you're ready.
and what got me to figure out that mindset was actually thinking back to like writing math exams in university.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like go into the exam and everyone would be like shitting bricks and just so terrified of the test. And I was just like, I am gonna murder all of these motherfuckers because I prepared so fucking hard for this.
Yeah.
And it like just became fun.
And that's how you make it fun.
Yeah, and then realizing that powerlifting is the exact same thing. Like meet day is the test day. If I am prepared for the test, there's no reason to not do well. And if I am using the anxiety to drive me to be better prepared, like, yes, sure, it might be, more stressful in training if I'm thinking about how I don't want to suck on the platform. That makes the platform all the more rewarding.
Then you can kind of take it all in, right? Which is what makes you enjoy it when you actually be present in that moment because you know you did all the work.
Yep.
You know the outcome's like basically already been determined.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about right now in training is like, every session is just like, I don't want to suck on the platform. Doesn't matter how I feel. I got to do my job.
And that's a good motivator, just not wanting to suck. You know,
Yep.
I don't want to embarrass myself, so I'm gonna try really hard for
my
these
balls
next
off.
22 weeks.
And I think so many people are like almost afraid to try because they want to know that they could have done better in a weird fucked up way.
That's incredibly true. That's a very true statement.
Because I've seen so many lifters that it's almost like they hold themselves back in training and they don't want to put everything they can into it because they don't want to find out what would happen if they did. Because they're almost afraid to know that like maybe they're not as good as they think they are.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, I think it's twofold. I think maybe it's they don't want to realize they're not as good as they are, and they don't want other people to realize that too.
Yep.
Right. So then it's in their head it's better to not even try. But
and have a little cop out, have it's just for fun.
I think it's a much better situation to try and to lose than to not know.
But yeah, like I don't want to leave the sport wondering what I could have done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the entire motivation behind this right here is like, I want to find out.
Yeah, that's what keep you up at night.
Yep. Because I've seen so many older lifters that like, they try to hold on for so long because they waited too long to do the things that would necessarily get them better. And they're in this shitty spot where it's like they're finally like they're 20 years into the sport and they're finally doing everything right. But because they're 20 years into the sport, they're already so banged up and they're so broken down and they're aging out of being able to be strong that they just spin their wheels and it looks like this never ending process of frustration. And like that's what's making me do it now because I don't want to.
It's a sad thought.
I don't want to be there.
Yeah, it's a very sad thought. Yeah.
And not to say that someone can't get stronger if they're older, but if someone's been pushing the wrong way for 20 years, it's going to be very hard to reach their peak when they're that far in.
Yeah, and the reality is like everyone has a window.
Yeah.
You have a window of time and like time's undefeated. It gets everyone.
Yeah.
Eventually you won't be able to get stronger. And then it's not even like just one day it hits and you're like, okay, I can't get stronger anymore. It's like the window slowly closes and it just gets harder to get stronger as you go. Right. And that's the slope that can start before people realize it.
Yeah.
Before people realize it's happening.
And for the
40, same with building muscle.
For the 40-year-olds listening to this right now, this is not an endless wall of depression because if you're 40 and just getting into it, you could absolutely get stronger. I'm not talking to you.
You can always get better.
Yes, you could always get better. You can always build more.
The reality is, though, if you start powerlifting at 40 versus start powerlifting at 20, and you do 15 years powerlifting in both situations, I think the guy who started at 20 is probably going to be stronger than the guy who started at 40.
But if there's a guy starting at 40 versus me sitting here at 31, the guy that's brand new at 40 has more room to progress than I do left.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. No, I was saying like two fresh guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, never started. You can always get better.
Yeah. Good endpoint.
Yeah, I gotta go train, man.
Yeah, okay.
See, go take a couple more ephedrine and get after it.
Perfect.
Off program, episode 5. Catch you next week.